Joining me now, Mark Levin, host of Life, Liberty, and Levin, and author of American Marxism. All right, Mark, so we've seen Benghazi. I know in the Reagan administration, you saw the Marine barracks in Lebanon happen. Where does this stack up in the annals of military blunders, in your opinion?
I think this is the biggest blunder, as Colonel Richard Kemp told me, who was head of British forces in Afghanistan since the end of World War II. The ramifications of this are absolutely unbelievable. First of all, we just lost more men in this outrageous, boggled, messed up withdrawal than we lost in the last 18 months in Afghanistan. And the idea that you would create basically the Alamo, you'd have no air power, you'd have no external military support, so the enemy knows where to hit you, so the enemy knows to hit anybody who tries to get there. I don't know what kind of generals we have. I don't know what kind of advice this president's getting, but this president is a disaster. He's always been a disaster. He is reckless, he is dangerous, he is stubborn, and he's stupid. And now it's just cost us some lives. We still have, according to the State Department, 1,500 citizens over there. I suspect there's a lot more. They're not getting out. They're not getting out. What's going to happen to those people, let alone the tens of thousands of our ally citizens and our Afghan allies? So, you know, I'm no military expert, but on the other hand, neither is Joe Biden. In fact, Joe Biden's not, his vice president's not, his Secretary of State's not, his national security advisor's not. We have nobody with serious, on-hand military experience other than the Secretary of Defense, who appears to be utterly and completely feckless, and his Joint Chiefs, who seems to be one of the worst generals in modern American history. So my attitude about this is we still haven't gotten out. It's still going to be increasingly dangerous to get out. And by the way, Jesse, I keep hearing, we'll do recriminations later. What do you mean we're going to do recriminations later? We need to know exactly what the hell's going on and who's responsible for it in real time. Recriminations in 5 months doesn't do us any good. People need to be held to account. You know, Abraham Lincoln in the middle of the Civil War didn't say, you know, we'll do the recriminations later with the generals. He was firing one general after another until he got one who could get the job done. The problem here is we can't fire the President of the United States, which is why I've been saying Republicans in the House need to start talking about impeachment a lot and strongly. I know who's behind him, Harris. I know who's behind her, Pelosi. But we and the world need to know that we try to hold people accountable for what they've done. This cabinet, which is a joke, if they were working, they'd be looking at the 25th Amendment. We have a man in the White House now who has blown up more than half a century of American national security, the norms. All he wanted to do in this mission is get the military out of Afghanistan, 2,500 troops. Well, he hasn't succeeded, has he? He's sending more troops. And it was never going to succeed when you pull out the military before you pull out the citizens, and our guys are sitting ducks there. I don't, and you know, and the media now, the corrupt media, yesterday or the day before, they were talking about, you know, Joe Biden's not getting the credit that he deserves. This is the greatest airlift in American history. Airlift? This is a surrender, the worst American surrender in American history. And now we have some dead troops, which he said he wanted to avoid. Well, now they have some explaining to do, don't they?
Yeah, he said, knock on wood, no dead soldiers yet. And now we know what happened there. So you're saying, in your opinion, that the 25th Amendment is in play. I know you believe impeachment should be in play when the Republicans take the House back. Do you think the 25th Amendment is being talked about?
No. And I think it's going to take pressure from the outside. It's harder to do than impeachment because it requires the cabinet to take action. But the cabinet sits, and they know what they're dealing with. They're dealing with a dithering buffoon. We see it in front of the camera. Why do you think he turns around and walks away? Because his Svengali, Ron Klain, tells him, don't take any questions, don't screw things up. He can barely get words out. Complicated words are made into 2 or 3 syllables. We all know what's going on. The Communist Chinese, the Russians, our allies in Israel and Germany and France, the whole world knows what's going on. But our media protect him. The Democrat Party nominated him. Pelosi, hey, look, Pelosi, too. All this starts, and she thinks she's praising Biden, that this is going swimmingly. This is just fantastic. She's such a hack. You know, we need people who are going to stand up Prior generations, it didn't matter what party. You have American lives on the line, you have military lives on the line. We came together and we did what we had to do. We have to fix this fast, including internally in this country, because he's incapable of leading this country. He's incapable of making sound decisions.
Yeah, that's clear.
He just doesn't function properly.
That is 100% clear, and it's a dereliction of duty. And I don't know if this administration has the stomach to face that reality, but the American people do. Mark Levin, everybody, American Marxism, go check that out. And you see him on Sunday nights as well. Thanks, Mark.